Welcome to our weekly energy talk. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm a professional energy healer, energy coach, and therapist. And here on Skype Live every Wednesday, we have this platform which we call Daily Sacred Self, where we do online meditations at least once or twice a day, energy talks, workshops, study groups, etc. And here with me, I have a beautiful audience. Yeah, we call ourselves Sacred Self Healers. Yeah, we are individuals that notice that there's, aside from the material part of our experience of life, also an immaterial. Yeah, we call this here in our societies, in our Western society, spiritual part, and we use this time to freely talk about these spiritual, these energetic things. Yeah, so transCODES is a platform for energetically sensitives and awakened souls, and a big part of this awakening process and really understanding what this process entails once it's activated, all right, requires us to talk about it, requires us to build a spiritual literacy in a way. And this is what we do here in form of this group work, free for everybody, yeah, with talking about it. So there is obviously no doubt about the challenges that we are facing right now in this world. In your words, guys, what do you perceive as currently here in the middle to the end of October, biggest challenge in the world? What do you see in your words as sort of, the task here for all those who are incarnated here in this time, which includes yourself, obviously? And I obviously don't mean the material problems, don't tell me financial crisis or war or, those are all things that are taking place on the 3D, on the material level. And we can get lots of information about that everywhere, biased or not. Yeah, the discernment of that is up to something else in us, and that has to do with the understanding of the bigger, of the more immaterial, the conceptual part, the plan that is behind all of this. What do you guys see as the biggest task, the biggest problem, if you will, or the biggest karmic lesson, destiny, fate, whatever you want to call this, for humanity right now, here in the middle of October 2023? Who would like to share? Who would like to talk?
I think just for me, hi Yona.
Hi.
I for me it's the speed of things, and it's an annual thing around, just before Christmas that I think it's either anticipatory or it's also happening. How do I keep up with this? Because I can feel it in my nervous system, like shoulders especially, are just quite stiff at the moment. But I just
Like a
want to find.
nervousness, or like a sort of an expectation, maybe something big is going to happen, or is it more like something that you could relate to the past, like even childhood maybe, um, this fear that maybe something isn't going to happen?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, actually. It's a
Like an
mixture.
expectation of some
Yeah,
sort.
like I don't want to expect anything, but what's behind door number 3, that kind of thing.
All right. So is this a collective? Is this an overall condition? What do you guys think? The question was, what you believe to be the biggest issue, the biggest task here for humanity at this time. Yeah, facing all these problems. Yeah, the biggest problem that we need to solve. Sean brings in his personal perspective, which is very beautiful because we are looking at our subjective experience of these things, yeah, when we investigate the immaterial part. And Sean, you're saying there is some kind of expectation, and I interpret this as uncertainty, yeah, like something is to come, maybe not, maybe there are some ideals of how we want things to be, but there's also sort of bit of an inkling that it might not. Is that, am I hitting the spot there, Sean?
Yes, but then Abby told me that we can still have what we want. So I'm like, we
Oh,
have
that's
to.
the second chakra. Yeah, let's hear some more voices here. What do you guys think is the biggest issue right now? And it's totally okay to use your subjective experience because that is what we are here for. We don't want an analysis. Yeah.
For me, it feels like a time of the need to sort of slow down and just notice and watch and give space and grace, sort of like explore, like I feel like I know I need to know more, and I can't force myself to know more, so I'm just needing to sort of step back and go slow.
No more about what?
Probably how to connect more to sort of see deeper, or like get out of the busyness.
All right, who says so?
I just sort of feel it in my body.
So you feel, let's call it a notion or an impulse
Yeah,
to
that
connect more.
if I don't slow down, I'm going to continue in this sort of nothingness.
Okay. Something like nothingness is big. Something like there's no growth, there's no development,
Well, of
there's
course, I'm
no evolution.
yeah, and I'm personally in grief right now, and so it's probably that I don't know what that means. I don't know how to get through it, and so that moving back and just sort of
Okay.
allowing and not forcing myself to do something I don't know.
All right. So Linda, that's actually quite beautiful. See, when you guys start talking about things and use more descriptors, there's so much more, yeah, than what you start out with. Yeah. Let me ask you one question before I sort of summarize how I understood what you said. With all the things that you now mentioned, do you really think it's about a matter? It's a matter of knowing, knowledge.
Yeah,
Because
maybe.
the
I,
impulse you're describing is the opposite. It's allowing, slowing down, allowing things to work through you, yeah, and finding new ways that allow you to look into a brighter future. Say,
yeah, and so probably my pull at knowing is all of the things that have to happen during this period of time and not knowing. So yeah, you're right. It's really not about the knowing.
okay, so there's a part of you. Let me translate this. Okay, there's a part of you that would like to know the exact details of the stages of grieving. Okay, and the exact details, preferably listed in a tabular form, okay, on how to get through those times, yeah, where the big emotions are going through you.
You pegged me.
It's fantastic because, we could literally form clubs, around this, and there are many clubs out there, okay, but I can assure you there's not going to be a solution. There is no such manual that can break that down into sort of predictable and controllable things. There are obviously tendencies, there are things that are inherent to all of us. And as how psychology, it works with these aspects, can say, like there are, according to this or this or this theory or model, there are 5 or 7 stages of grieving that everybody kind of has to go through, but everybody goes through them maybe in a different order or for a different length of time. So, at the end of the day, more knowledgeable. All you know is that when big emotions go through you, and especially when they have the power to, this is kind of like what I'm hearing, when they have the power to put a wrench in your system, yeah, when they have the when they show you that you're actually not fully in control, yeah, then, this part of us that wants to control the process, that wants to know all the steps, ABC, and, sort of wants to sort of bring everything into a certain procedure, wants to define and wants to also restrict the process. Because behind that really is, our ego's notion of going through this as fast as we can, as efficient as we can, right? And just getting over with it. The problem with many of these big emotions, as I call them, these human things, when we go through loss, when we go through, even to a certain degree, positive big emotions, when we fall in love, when we discover new opportunities, when we're given new choices, and all these big things in our life, when we're about to choose to end something, or to move away, or you guys understand what I'm talking about, right? Big transitions in life, yeah, but whether they're positive or negative. Okay, when that happens, it really is, for example, also, getting married or having children, and all these kind of things belong into this category. So big events in a human life, okay? When we are faced with them, there really isn't a perfect way of doing that. There really isn't a direction manual for these things, because they have to do with the subjective experience. So if one refuses to actually go through, whatever the stages of transition or transformation or change are, to go through those just sort of like a checklist or chore list, without actually wanting to experience them. Yeah, if one refuses to experience them, then what happens is that we prolong the process. Yeah, so let's take the example of having a child, or wanting to have a child, or being pregnant, or thinking about getting a child. Yeah, like you know there is something so definite about this, okay, that the only way, and I actually remember this really well before I had my first child, before I had my daughter, I approached it just like, my ego thought the world functioned. I bought myself probably 10 books, and I interviewed everyone I knew that already had children. I did a scientific study on what it's like to have children, and what not to do, and what to do, and how to prepare, and, all these kind of things. And when I then finally had my first child, all that went out the window. All that went out the window. I couldn't even access any of the knowledge that I had gathered beforehand, because somehow it didn't apply. And it wasn't that it was all for nothing, but it did not match up with my experience. Yeah, so the problem with wanting to have sort of a list, or a procedure, or a protocol, or, is that it externalizes it. And it makes it difficult for us to actually go through the process in a conscious way. And the ramifications of not going through these big human emotions and motions is that we have to then repeat them, or we have to, we prolong them. Yeah, so there are certain things that we just have to go through. Yeah, it's like initiation rites. We just have to go through certain things. And same with puberty, and pimples, and body odor, or lunar cycle, or testosterone kicking in. I mean, all these things, they are all part of our human experience. Dealing with uncertainty, dealing with financial pressure, dealing with, breakups, dealing with, betrayal, dealing with fears of the future. Those are all things that belong to our human experience. And what helps us to understand why there cannot be a plan or a direction manual, or at least, in this sort of linear way, sort of ABC chore list or task list, is because it's not about surviving those things. It's not about, like taking a test in them. It's not about graduating from them. It's about experiencing them. It's about going through them, and in the process, accumulating new wisdom, having new insights, developing new ways, learning how to apply our willing, like our needs and our wants and our desires for the future, our true heart's desire, how to bring this into the experience. And if we sit there and say, oh, I'm going through a challenging experience, individually or collectively, and I say, I would like to have an instruction manual as to how to best do this. Now, humanity, the collective, will do this by looking into the history, right? It will say, well, how did we humans do this in the past? Okay, so in the past we did this. We started a war, or we, invested in this or that, or we cut down cost, or, things like that. And this is all based on the past. Whenever it comes to, new challenges and growth and, new evolutionary steps, whether it's as individual or as collective, we always have to resort to this immaterial part in us, this consciousness that we have, to work out new ways. This is one of the coolest traits and most powerful forces in us humans. The willingness to go through an experience, to learn from it, to form a certain level of resilience, as psychologists would say, and a certain level of wisdom, that we can then apply to future problems. And if you really think about it, and this is not just for you, Linda, here, this is for all of us. Every time we are challenged, through a crisis, through, some kind of big event in our life, what it does, and maybe that's all there is to it, what it does, it puts a wrench into our system and stops all these constructs and these ways how we have been doing things for a moment. Because they don't work anymore. We're forced to consciously experience what it is that we're experiencing and to internalize it. So if you're asking a spiritual healer like myself, what the purpose of going through all these big emotions, these big transitions and transformations in life is, then the answer will not be satisfactory for your ego. The answer is, well, the purpose of going through it is to go through it. And hopefully, in the process, to internalize, and this is the part, guys, that you really need to understand. Internalize all these conditions and these things that are happening, sending them through your own system, and in that, activating a power within yourself that maybe wasn't there before, that wasn't fully formed yet, or, because it's not really an end to, there's no end to it. It just keeps going. So activating a transformative power within yourself. And this transformative power, guys, is not mystical at all. It has nothing to do with magic or New Age or mysticism or anything like that. Now, this is actually well researched, and you know this. It's kind of like it's the genius in us, if you will. It's just not like the intellectual genius. It's that sort of consciousness genius in us. We have this ability to take things in, to reframe them, to look at things from different perspectives, to look at all the feelings, and even, and this is the reason probably why you're here, to increase our perception so that we can see it from even more perspectives, such as, a spiritual perspective, which would include karmic aspects. Now, what's the karmic purpose of what I am going through? Now, what is the overall sort of learning task that I am experiencing here right now? And that requires us to be willing to consciously experience what we're experiencing. Instead of, and this is the big conflict in all of us, the big schism, instead of trying to avoid dealing with these big emotions, because it scares our ego. Now, our ego is there to control what is going on in the environment so that it can evaluate whether something is potentially a threat or not. So it tries to control that, and that is the part that wants the direction manual. And our consciousness, which we activate through our heart and execute, through the merging of our heart and our mind, here in our middle, in our center point, okay, doesn't actually need that. This higher consciousness in us that then allows us to see things from many more perspectives is the part that can see, that, for example, when we go through grieving, that at the end of the day, it's a process of allowing ourselves to feel the loss, allowing ourselves to say goodbye, but also allowing ourselves to accept the cycle of life. And that is something that our ego does not like. So for all of you out there that are going through loss, loss of a loved one or loss of, something like a house or finances, understand that there is a huge wisdom in going through that experience in a conscious way. Why? Because as you are choosing, as you are willing to go through this, you can transform your fear of it. Let me say this again. As you are willing, as you're choosing to go through challenging experiences or big, unpredictable or uncontrollable experiences in a conscious way, and you open your heart and you go into them and feel into them and allow your heart and your mind to transform all that comes up in you, into something like wisdom. In that moment, from then on, you no longer need to be afraid of them. The ego in us is there to, well, in a way, protect us from these uncontrollable and potentially threatening things. But the ego, therefore, is also fundamentally against growth, against forming wisdom, against increasing your perception, against change. Our ego is against change. It's not interested in change. In fact, it tries to prevent change from happening. Whereas our higher consciousness regards every experience as an opportunity, as a learning experience. And as we are going into the experience and shed all the judgment and the ideals and all the externalizations and all the constructs that come with our limited ego perception, we begin to see new ways, new approaches, new solutions. This, my friends, is the strongest and most powerful force in all of us. But we have to choose to consciously internalize our experience. We cannot just sit there and let the experience come over us, or like some of us tend to do, consume an experience, milk the drama, the juice out of it. That's a consuming, and there's a different sort of payoff in that. There's a different bias in that. So it's just a form of distraction where we're not actually allowing ourselves to experience that which wants to be experienced. So, Linda, this was a very long-winded comment to your perspective on what the big task is for us here. Yeah, but
That was beautiful. I learned a ton.
yeah, I try to include the collective here because this is really the collective condition that we have. Yeah. So my tip for you is just allow yourself to experience it. And when you notice that you have an apprehension, that you have a resistance toward certain type of emotions or certain type of states that you find yourself in, take note, journal this. Yeah, write down, oh, today I'm feeling so-and-so, and I can feel how I really, really don't want to go there. And instead of going there, I'm trying to keep myself busy, or I'm trying to, distract myself from it. Keep sort of track of it. Don't judge anything. Yeah, just allow yourself to go through the process. Yeah. At the end of the day, when it comes to our ability, yeah, to deal with, life's curveballs, yeah, when it comes to this faculty to transform, something that could potentially be threatening, yeah, that triggers fear in us, into something that is an opportunity, into an opening, into something that could augment, yeah, our life, that could, bring in new impulses, yeah, that can inspire us to think in ways in a new way, or to feel about things in a new way. In the end, these things are basically inspirations. So inspiration, yeah, when spirit comes into you, yeah, opens up, okay, this area in you, this faculty in you, yeah, this sort of big transformation machine. No, it's not a machine, but do you know what I mean? Like this big transformation power center in you that can take anything and make something cool out of it. Before the session, yeah, so those who come live, they get a little sort of personal conversation with me before the energy talk. Someone here shared about, just feeling these uncontrollable cravings right now, yeah, for food mostly, and foods that we would probably normally not eat. Now, I commented on that is very common right now because, most of what we experience right now coming in from the outside is so overwhelming. There is like literally no hope, no faith, no future, no love, no nothing there. Yeah, we're entering a state in which, literally everybody goes against everybody, where it's no longer clear what the good guys are, the bad guys are, where it's no longer clear whether, do we have a climate crisis? Yeah, is this something that we as humans cause, or uh, you know, responsible for, or not? Yeah, do we have all these health challenges right now because we're not doing enough, or maybe we're doing too much? Yeah, is all the political stuff that we're seeing in the world right now causing us to be, this sort of confused and overwhelmed, or is it our confusion, our overwhelm that gave, the platform for those kind of irrational and erratic political conditions to be? We no longer, the world is no longer that simple, guys. We are now experiencing basically the end of the material era, yeah, where everything was just reduced to its material outcome. And when we reduce everything to the material outcome, we as humans, yeah, we as these ingenious sort of transformation machines, oh, we're not machines, but you know what I mean, beings, we become sick. Our heart aches, our psyche aches, and our body aches. Because when we only reduce all experiences that we have to the material outcome, we miss the whole point. If someone who wants or contemplates about having children reduces the having children decision to the tax breaks that they're getting, the amount of money they have to pay for diapers, the amount of money they have to pay for school tuition and college tuition, and the amount of work that it will take them, how often they have to drive them to school, and so forth. You see what I'm saying? You're missing the experience. You're missing this wondrous and miraculous experience of creating new life and seeing those little souls, yeah, these well, it's actually big souls in little bodies, experience the world and taking it all in, yeah, internalizing it all, and forming sort of their own thoughts and feelings and understandings for what the world is and what it means to be human. You're missing out on that. Does this make sense for you guys? Well, the point that I'm trying to make is, don't try to cope challenges away. Don't fight against them. Instead, strengthen the part in you, that ingenious part, yeah, your heart center, your middle point, your Christ consciousness, yeah, the divine spark in you, yeah, that makes you this wonderful being that is able to adapt to about anything. Yeah? Strengthen that instead of fighting against, the access, the excess of insanity and the deficiency of love and freedom and truth in this life. Don't fight against untruth and unlove and restriction. The biggest task for us here as individuals and as collective is to recognize that we're at the end of the rope when it comes to materializing our life's experience, and really understand that now that we've basically conquered the material world, yeah, as a whole collective, that we now need to spiritualize it again, that we now need to allow, yeah, the internal, the subjective, and the immaterial component of a person's experience, yeah, to flow back in. It's a very wonderful process, yeah, and does not have to be scary for us. It's just the end of that path. And now we need to activate, yeah, this higher consciousness in us that will say, well, yeah, it's not about getting more millions or billions or trillions. It's not about making machines, more faster or smaller or, that. No, it's not about that. It's wonderful that we have all these things. Yeah. And, with the right consciousness, we can use them all in the right way. But they are not the solution for the complexity of issues that we are faced with. The solutions, yeah, the faculty to adjust and transform, yeah, to all these new circumstances, forces, and also conditions that we are finding ourselves in, yeah. Just within a few years, within the last 5 to 10 years, our lives have completely transformed on the outside through technology and some other aspects of materialism. And now we're just seeing that there is no future there. This doesn't mean that there is no future, it just means there is no future. So what do? We regroup. We go back into our center. Yeah, and here within the Sacred Self-Healing community and so many other communities out there, we practice this every day. Yeah, we meditate, we talk about these things, we go into our hearts, we give all this a platform. Yeah, and it's not just about wishing it better. No, we have to bring this together, yeah, what we have learned in the past and how we feel about it as we are going through it, as we are witnessing it. And that's then what strengthens the power in us that can help us to come up with new ways, with new perspectives, with new perception. And this is what we train here with all these different training courses and personal and group sessions. Yeah, and this is what you are. You are a conscious self-healer on your way to transform darkness, yeah, in form of fear, in form of hatred, into light, in form of love and truth and freedom. This is your challenge. This is all our challenge for this next evolutionary phase that we're all in. So thank you guys for sharing. Yeah, our time's already up. I hope this helps you to tackle, not to cope, but, to just get through these times right now. The next 4 weeks, they're not really going to be kumbaya, Yeah, we're going to have to take inventory of the insanity right now. Yeah, people trying to find solutions only in the material. It's not going to work. Yeah. So whatever faction people see themselves belonging to, it doesn't matter. It's equally wrong or equally, how can I say, without judging it, it's not going to lead to better outcomes. It's not going to lead to solutions. This has to come from us, guys. Yeah, we have to bring this in. And how can we do this? by individually doing this. You know, go into your heart, go into your middle, and strengthen that instead of fighting against this, or judging this, or you know, letting yourself get pulled into the fear and the anger and the hatred. That is now becoming a real threat to our consciousness. Okay? I love you guys. Stay conscious, and I see you hopefully on Friday for the free Connect with Your True Self energy healing or self-healing session here at transCODES. Go to my website for the session details or check the description here in the videos, the RSVP link. Connect with Your True Self energy healing session is free for everybody. It's a group session, yeah, something very, very powerful where we all create a wonderful, wonderful grid, energetic grid throughout the entire planet, connecting with this middle, with this center point, with Christ light in us, not outside of us, inside of us. Yes, been doing this for now almost 12 years. So welcome if this is your first time, and welcome back if this is something that you've already taken advantage of. Yeah, see the description in the video. I see you on Friday, hopefully, and until then, bye bye.
Thank you.